Welcome to another episode of the StayiN Wild and Well podcast. Today I have joining me on the podcast, Mat Flosse. I have known Mat for over a decade. He is one of the most fascinating, versatile, transformational individuals I have ever known. A little bit more about Mat. Mat is the president and founder of Meatings Barbecue, one of Ottawa's top catering restaurant companies. He's also behind Flow Garden, a wedding and event space where he brings people together for weddings and meaningful community gatherings. Outside of business, Mat is passionate about mental health, sound healing, and contrast therapy, hosting sound baths, men's circles, and wellness events that give people a place to rest, connect, and feel truly supported. His journey is all about building community, whether it's through food, celebration, sharing, or healing experiences. Mat has gone through his own healing experience, and I cannot wait for you to find out more on today's episode. Welcome to the StayiN Wild and Well podcast. My name is Rin, and my greatest accomplishment is being alive. Here we talk about life's journey, the ups, the downs, the in-betweens, all things mental health, body, mind, and spirit. We share wild stories and keeping your wild alive while staying well. Welcome, Mat.
Hey.
I'm so excited to have you. I did your intro before you arrived, and I was like, dang, we've known each other for a decade.
And that's crazy.
Who you are versus who you were, who I met, is entirely different.
Yeah, very different version of Mat. Many different eras that we've gone through in those 10 years, for sure.
So
Crazy.
You have quite a story, and I thought let's start off by bringing the listeners into your story and some of the things that you've gone through that have brought you to who you are today.
Okay, wow. Do you want to go back to childhood start or how did you
No, because I'm going to dive into that.
Okay.
I would say the pivotal turning point for you. So I know that you've gone through, and a lot of this is from my book, as you know, so some deep depression, some suicidal tendencies. What led to that? What happened before you were I need to change my life. Something's not working.
Yeah. I think first time would go back to maybe around 2016 when I first kind of felt symptoms of what I knew what the term was of mental health, of depression, of anxiety, and just struggling with self-identity, self-worth, and I went through a period of time where I was throwing up in the morning every day for multiple months before going into work, which I had an amazing job. I had my own business, things were going really well. I had a beautiful girlfriend, a great family, friends, everything on the outside was great. But then you start peeling some things back and you're like, okay, I see maybe why, I was feeling this way. And then, I worked through it. I actually went to a cottage with some friends in Tremblant and took some MDMA recreationally, but I ended up, really kind of breaking down first and then opening up to some friends that were there. We were crying, a bunch of guys crying in the basement of this Airbnb. And then I just got a lot of validation and love and support from my friends that I didn't really know or feel. And that was kind of my breakthrough aha moment into what the power of the, now we call them plant medicines. At the time, it was drugs. But that's kind of what opened up my eyes to the possibility of it. And I never really dabbled into it again because I kind of felt this weight off my shoulders. My dad was like, you're a born again Christian. He was calling my friends. He's like, what the fuck did you do to my son? But, it was amazing because at that time I was, pretty heavily addicted to or reliant on smoking weed, taking bong hits, with tobacco and finding a mechanism to numb myself and also to help with the nausea so that I could go in and go to work. And I got home and I remember in my garage smashing my bong in the garage. My girlfriend was pretty pissed because she was kind of in that same dependency on it. And then I went out and lived my life and did all right and was pretty happy. And then it got to the point where COVID happened. Being in the hospitality industry and being a social guy who loves to be around people and going out, I went back into that dark place. And then, tried to do some traditional therapy and had some resolve, but I felt like there was something deeper that I needed to dig into.
So almost like that calling from the inside, there's more here, there's more here.
Yeah, and it's you get to this point where it's okay, you should be fucking taking care of yourself. You should love yourself. You see and feel all of the things that are around you that are amazing and beautiful and supportive and loving. And it's why the why can't I grasp that?
Why can't I enjoy
feel
it?
that? Why can't I like be it and believe it? And then I was actually talking to my dad's, a friend of my dad who's a bereavement counselor. And a couple weeks before, I'd seen an article on MDMA assisted therapy. And so I asked her about it. I said, do you do this? Do you know anybody that does it in Ottawa? And she said, actually, I work with a guy in Ottawa, obviously underground because it's still illegal. And she said, he's amazing. You should go meet with him. And I did. And so I went and met with him. His name is Dan. He's a gem of a human being. And the first time was kind of just a consultation to kind of, build up some trust. And it's in his apartment building. You're
like, I'm walking into this sketchy apartment. What am I getting myself into?
Yeah, I was definitely, I was seeking it. So I was ready for it. But then I got there and got into the apartment building, and it was kind of like, not a dingy because it's a beautiful space, but like to me in that moment. And then going into his place, it was, incense was burning. There's spiritual things, artifacts all around the room, and that was not me. I thought that shit was like fruit weirdo hippy dippy kind of shit. But then honestly, as soon as I walked in and he shook my hand and looked me in the eyes, like my shoulders just dropped, and I'm like, okay, I'm safe. I'm safe. This is all right. You, Matt, you're gonna be all right. And then he guided me through asked me a lot of questions, obviously, what are you going through? What are you struggling with? And then we did these exercises where I was basically sitting on his couch. We were sitting across from each other, and he guided me through some breath work and this thing called heart math, where you try and displace the energy from your heart into places of pain or stuckness or weight. And I had bursitis in my knee. I had just been doing landscaping in my house, and I had this pocket of pus in my knee, and I couldn't get rid of it. And through this, we imagined, he told me, give a shape, give a color to this pain, and then take your other hand and imagine it's the light and the sun. And again, I was like, whatever, dude. Love. And then, I'm closing my eyes, and he's guiding me through this breathing patterns. And then he said, I want you to imagine, putting your hands together and imagine this light going through and breaking up all the little particles of the substance, object, whatever that you've created in your mind. And so I did that. I'm trying to take the energy from my heart and put it into my knee. And then, we finished up, and I stood up and I said, literally just, what the fuck? How did you do that? What did you do? And he said, man, it's all you. I was like, what do you mean it's all me? He's like, you did that. I was just here to guide and support you, but you did that.
Really teaching you your own energy.
Like, I did that? And then I'm thinking, reflecting, like, holy shit, yeah. All I did was just make up stuff in my head, try and create these thought patterns, use the breathing, and, try and actually think about taking my energy from my heart and putting it there. And I was like, okay, I guess I did do it. And that was kind of this moment of, obviously, wow. And also just this level of security and comfortability that I felt with this man, that I was like, okay, I feel that you are here to support me, and I feel safe, and I'm ready to
go all in.
Let's dive in. And then we started talking about the protocols that he uses. So he uses, do you want to go into that now?
Well, I actually have a question. What would you say to listeners who are like, so that was all your mind, you just made up a story and now you're healed? Is there true energy there? Is it the story of the mind? Is it the rewiring of the brain? I mean, I think it's all of it, but what would you say to somebody who's like, okay, sure, bud?
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's all of it. I think most people anyways, have never been educated or conditioned to think and realize and understand how powerful our mind is, how powerful our breath is, how powerful our focused energy on our bodies, our mind, and our soul, and leveraging them and using them all in, cohesiveness to do some crazy shit that you don't think that you have the ability to do, because we have so many self-limiting beliefs. And then just education, we've never been taught this stuff. You didn't learn how to meditate or do breath work as a kid in school or anything. Our parents, unless you're really privy to it, and fortunate to have parents that were in this space, we didn't know how to do this shit. And then now when you start to realize the power that we do have, I'm getting goosebumps. It's mind-blowing stuff.
So would you say to somebody they really have to trust and try before forming an opinion?
Yeah.
Because you were in there and you were like, okay.
Yeah. For sure. I think obviously with everything you have to trust in, but yeah, you really have to be able to trust your own self and get to a point where it's like, okay.
And almost like a part of, like, you were desperate a little bit. You're like, I'm willing to try anything. I just want to feel better.
Yeah. When you get to the dark, scary places, you're like, okay, it could go really bad, and I need to find something.
I need to make change.
I need to make a change here.
So I do have a question going back to, you and your friends in the basement, and a bunch of men just like crying.
Yeah.
Was the idea to do this recreationally, and then like all of a sudden you're all crying and like, what the hell? Like, what was the idea here?
Yeah, it was like, it was honestly a celebration or a Christmas party for a couple of my friends who had a business. So they kind of all invited us out to this cottage where they have a marketing company. So they were doing some filming of this cottage for the owner. And then like, okay, well, might as well bring the friends down and have a fun time together. And then, we were using MDMA recreationally for parties and raves at the time and that kind of stuff. And it just kind of unfolded, when you have these emotions and everything just so bottled up, it's like right at the tip of your neck, your throat, and then there's some kind of catalyst that just lets the valve open up, and you're like, you have no control over it because you've been bottling it so long. And then you take some plant medicines and they are able to
So you are all impacted in that way: emotional, crying, vulnerable, holding space.
Yeah, I don't remember if like anybody else was really going through that at the time. It was more like my friends just really supporting me, which I was like obviously so grateful for. But yeah, I just remember kind of breaking down, and then just like all of them just showering me with love.
I mean, what does that teach you about vulnerability? Because like in the world of masculinity right now, I would say like it's become a lot more open, and I know something that you do now is really hone in on the masculine energy and supporting men. So like, what would you say here in terms of like how helpful that was to have yourself be vulnerable and then everybody come to support you? You probably would have never imagined that happening.
No, I was never conditioned, rest in peace my mother, but her coined term was suck it up, princess, And so my parents were amazing parents. They made me the man I am today, but they were, they were tough on me, tough love,
And their generation was like that, right? They didn't even talk about mental health back then.
Of course. And then, deeper that I learn about my family and talk to my grandparents and everything, you see the generational.
Generational,
yeah,
passing down.
Just passing down, piling on top. So, all love to them. But, I think, trying to understand that being vulnerable is something that's essential, removing that bravado brigade wall that we've developed over time to, protect ourselves, which is just a natural thing. No one wants to be sad or feel hurt or anything like that, but finding times and spaces and with people by yourself to get behind that and, have some self-reflection, some self-talk, some sharing experiences. Like that's just where the beauty of an essence of life is.
Yeah.
That we're kind of missing, I guess. I don't know.
And you feel so filled when you do that, right?
Oh, it's crazy. You don't understand like what fulfillment is or feeling until you're like, whoa, like this is it. Like I said, I get goosebumps all the time now because I'm just like so excited.
Yes, and this energy share. I remember when I was in your office last time, I think I could have stayed there all day. Like we were just going back and forth, it's so invigorating.
Yeah.
So your mom.
Yeah.
Prior to this MDMA experience with your friends, I know your mom has passed. Had she been passed at that time? Was she a part of the turmoil that was living inside of you?
For sure. This was after she passed, probably, I guess almost 10 years after, I would say, maybe a little bit less. But that was, aside from, the childhood experiences that I went through that obviously shaped me, like that was definitely a huge, losing a parent is crazy hard on whomever, everybody, anybody.
So how old were you when your mom passed?
I was 18. And so my brother was 14, dad was 40, my mom and dad were 40. They had me when they were 19, 20, so they were young. And I remember I was in Walmart. She passed away on August 31st, so right before school. My brother was obviously going into whatever grade it was, and I had graduated high school in the September or whatever, or not September, but the summer before that. So I was supposed to go away to university. And when we knew that my mom was terminal, I went back to my principal, at my high school, and two of my best friends were doing a victory lap. And so I asked her, went to her office, bawling my eyes out, said, Mom's passing, my brother's here, my two friends are here, I don't want to go to university, can I come back for a semester, be around them, be in a safe space? And she said yes, of course. Like, amazing woman, Mrs. Arbor, shout out to her. And yeah, she allowed me to come back. And so yeah, on August 31st, I remember I was at Walmart buying school supplies for my brother and I. Well, my dad was in the hospital, and I got the call from my dad saying, she's passed. And, we were kind of prepared for it in however you can be.
You're never really prepared for it, but you knew it was coming.
Knew it was coming. Like, probably one of the hardest moments in my life was my mom sitting my brother and I down.
And for listeners to know, your mom had cancer?
Yeah, she had lymphoma. So she had gone through it, and then it came back again within like a 2-year period, basically. And yeah, so like one of the hardest moments I would say like ever in my life was her sitting my brother and I down at her house and saying like, I know that I may be passing and I'm proud of you guys, and I know, she accepted that she was passing, and she accepted that, she's like, I feel like I've done the best that I can for you guys right now, and I love you guys and I'm proud of you, and I fortunately won't be here physically, but I'll be watching you and supporting you. And yeah, that was...
Well, even for you, like hearing that the cancer returned, the level of grief, like the first diagnosis is traumatic and grieving. And then you go through the, yay, you're recovered, you did it, like, and then you're hit with it again.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, we can go back on your childhood too, but like the connection to a mother cellularly, not just mentally and physically, cellularly, that attachment. And then the grief there and the shock of it returning and stuff like that, that does something internally, right?
Oh yeah.
So how did that impact you after her passing, and how did it play a part in feelings of anxiety and depression? And obviously if there was more to it than just your mom, which I believe there was, what are some of those things that led into it that you know now?
I guess for me, like I said, I was 18 years old, still a child. I mean, technically an adult, but
But we think we know everything.
Yeah, exactly. But just like that thought of, like I said, being at Walmart buying school supplies for my brother, I kind of just automatically snapped into being a caretaker.
Yes.
Like, and my dad obviously devastated. His soulmate, his guide, his lover, his rock, his support. Like,
well, you also lose a part of your dad in that moment, right?
100%, because part of my dad was my mom.
Yes. Them
together as a unit, as two people coming together as one, like, gone. And then brother being 14, I don't know if I had to or if I just did it instinctively, felt like I needed to put the pressure on myself to like be the
step up,
step the fuck up, because these people need you. And I was like captain of sports teams and stuff growing up, so I was always kind of like a leader role, and I guess it's just instinctively for me to step up and be like, okay, I need to be there for these people. And so doing that, I think, kind of just pushed away any kind of sadness and grief that I had experienced, because I was like, I don't have time for that shit. I gotta be the rock.
Great coping mechanism.
I gotta be the rock now.
Unconscious, might I add?
Yes, of course. Like I said, just instinctively, this is what I'm gonna do. And then, we went to some therapy and stuff through the school, my brother and I and my dad, and they didn't continue on. I stayed a little bit longer, but again, I'm 18 years old. I have no idea what the fuck I'm saying, in these sessions. And then, yeah, I think that's just something that where, you push your emotions away for so long, and then eventually there's going to be some kind of trigger that's like,
100%. Hey, I've been waiting for you. Yep. Yeah.
You can't just forget about me or push me away. And then
Were there subtle signs? Because like even if we go back to the beginning of this conversation where it was like, oh, I was throwing up every day before going into work. I always say like when we push down our truth or the things that we're supposed to face or like that inner turmoil, that's like there's like a soft knocking, and then your body starts to talk when your brain is so resilient. Because again, it's like not that you consciously know.
Yeah.
Like brain is like, you're going to become a caretaker. You're going to do all these things because we don't want to deal with this. This is too painful.
Yeah.
But then the body starts to talk. Were there other subtle signs for you that like, I should probably address this? Or was it kind of like, I'm just doing my thing?
I'm just doing my thing, I think, you know. I was just finding any kind of reason or excuse to just keep fucking going. Keep going. Whether it was sports, whether it was partying, whether it was even work. Like just full distractions. Full distractions to not feel the feelings, because as soon as you feel the feelings, it's like, oh shit, this sucks. And then, you know, I didn't have the tools of how to process these feelings, so I'm just like, well, suck it up, princess.
So when did the darkness hit for you? The depression, like the deep darkness where I can't enjoy from the outside this beautiful life?
Yeah. I think it was kind of, I guess, spearheaded from the relationship that I was in like 2016 era, where, you know, it had been so many years of kind of like pushing it away. And then my partner at the time, you know, gave me different reasons to be anxious and have anxious feelings and thoughts. And then I think it kind of just opened the floodgate of like, okay, yeah, there's still stuff from mom. There's still stuff from childhood. There's still a lot of shit that I've been putting down. And then, you know, like I said, it piles on top. And like the relationship I have with her, amazing woman, but was definitely like a catalyst for bringing up more stuff. And then that's when like the
relationships will be a mirror.
Yeah, exactly. It says nothing on her. A lot of it was because of me, you know. And then that's when like it was like, okay, heavy marijuana use, like every day. Wake up in the morning before work, going to work, stepping out of work, doing it in my truck, putting fucking Bizine in to go into work, and then just numbing myself basically.
Did you know it was a problem, or was it just like, I'm just doing this and it feels good?
Because like I was still like successful on the outside. I was still fun and
functional
user, you know, like my business was doing well. Things were growing, you know, I was still hanging out with friends. I was still doing fun shit, but it was just, I thought that I needed to numb myself. I didn't even think it was numbing myself. I just thought I needed to take the bong hit to be able to go and do X, Y, and Z. Because that's, if I didn't, then nausea in my stomach, anxiety, and I'm like, I can't do any of this stuff. So then, you know, and then my dad was like, why do you always have to smoke all the time? I'm like, I just need to. I didn't know why at the time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a classic. And I always say, like, addiction, it doesn't matter what it is, it's the same. Like, it has a different mask, right? Like, all of a sudden, if we're not doing the thing, we're anxious. So we're going to do the thing to get rid of the anxiety. And that's how the addiction starts, and the reliance on it. We don't feel okay unless we do the thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so, can you bring us into the darkness that you felt? Like, what was the depression like? What was the, because I know it got pretty dark for you.
Yeah, there was, definitely some really, really dark times where I guess like the biggest thing would be like self-worth for me was, I think, like reflecting back on it, that caused me the most amount of darkness is like, you know, I kind of worked through my mom passing and started to understand, okay, it is what it is. But then it's like, you know, I'd look at myself in the mirror and I'd be like, despite all the shit that I have around me, like, why, like, I'm not worthy of any of this stuff. I'm not worthy of what people think of me. People think, like, speak highly of me. I'm not fucking that person. And yeah, then I got to the point where like, do I even deserve to be here? Like, should I just fucking take my own life? And I would be driving sometimes to work on the highway, still drive down the same fucking road, and I'd look at the right and look at the guardrail and look at the water and look at the oncoming traffic, and I'd be like, it'd be pretty easy just to fucking turn the wheel.
So what got so bad that made you want to do that?
I think just like, missing my mom, and then just like, I don't know, feeling like shit all the time. And I'm like, well, why am I always feeling like shit? I don't want to feel like shit, so how do I not feel like shit? I don't know how else to do it. So ending it is an easy way to not feel like shit, I guess.
So what was the turning point for you? When did these feelings go away? How long did it take? Like, what if somebody's feeling like this?
I guess it's just like looking at for me, it was like looking at myself in the mirror and being like, man, you don't deserve to feel like this. I don't know. There was, I guess, just a moment in time when I kind of not snapped out of it because I was still in it, but just kind of clicked, and I'm like, okay, you know, all these people say these great things about you. You do have all these great things going on. How selfish would it be for you to end all this? To leave your brother, to leave your dad, to leave your friends, to leave your business? Like, there's got to be a way.
Feeling that dark, did it impact your relationships? Like, did it start to taint how you were with your dad? Were you snappy? How were your friendships?
I was sassy. Like my dad says, like we talk about it sometimes, of times when he'd come into my work, into the restaurant, and, you know, be so excited to come and visit me at his son's restaurant and bring me something. And I had like, when I was stoned all the time, and same thing with my business partner at the time, and just like this blank fucking stare that for me, I was just like, oh, I'm just chilling. But to them, it was like, why do you fucking hate me? Yeah. You look like you hate me right now.
That's so hard.
Which kind of that was kind of a catalyst to be like, I don't feel like I hate you. I'm okay. Like, I'm good. I love you. But then for all these people that I love to say that and think that, I'm like
this gets me emotional.
Yeah, I know. What am I doing to make them feel that way, you know? And I'm like, I love these people, so I don't want to make them fucking feel like I hate them.
Yeah, so this is making me really emotional because it brings me back to where I was when I was in my dark space. And like, you know, my mom and dad would try and hug me, or even, you know, that I've recently gone through a separation. Like, I often feel for Jesse, my previous partner, because I wasn't there, right? Mm-hmm. How did you repair that with your dad or other people? Like, what did that look like? Did you feel like you needed to repair it?
For sure. I felt a lot of guilt, you know, because like I said, these people loved me and supported me and were there for me, and I didn't reciprocate that, you know, to the way that I feel like I should, that they're deserving of, which just because I was not in a great place, obviously. And through like the talks and stuff that we've had since then, obviously I apologized a lot for a long period of time to try and reconcile, you know, and show my love for them, basically. Yeah, I mean, now I have a great relationship with my father and with, you know, friends and people that were along the journey that, you know, and they said, like, you were not the Matt that we know during these times.
Who was that Matt? Like, if he came up to you, like, did you feel, and like sharing a bit of my story, like, my parents would talk to me and I'd be just annoyed. It'd be like, what are you doing? Yeah. It was, and then they would leave and I would even be like, why was I like that?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Like, who was that? How were you when people would come to you?
I think just like a guarded, blocked, you know, very protective, but also very standoffish, very kind of like I guess unwilling to like let happiness flow through, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure like there was times where I would be happy and like show happiness, but we're all good at putting on a mask and a facade, you know?
And so now people go, you're nowhere near the same person.
No, I would say a lot of people are like, yeah, you're very...
So what happened, Matt? Let's go back to the apartment, shall we?
Back to the apartment, yeah. So with Dan, after, you know, going through this breathwork session, he kind of explained to me the process that he does. And he follows a protocol from MAPS, where basically it's 3 sessions, 1 month apart each session, and each session is like a progression. And so there's a goal at the end of the day, you know, because people can go and take 20 ayahuasca ceremonies, can go and take mushrooms 50 times and keep needing it and wanting it.
And it turns into a coping mechanism.
Exactly. So he's very specific and intentional with what he does. And, it's like with this 3-step protocol, we're going to get Matt back. Like the real fucking Matt. The Matt who's there, who's always been there, but has developed this wall around to protect himself, to do whatever it needed to do to keep Matt safe. And so, we're going to peel back the layers. And so then he educated me on what the process is going to be like. And so basically he said, let's schedule it from a few weeks out. Here's some documentation, and I want you to set some intentions. So intentions obviously very crucial to these kinds of ceremonies, because when you're in the medicine, you can wander a lot. So, setting intentions before the ceremony is very integral. And, you can bring different pictures or things that will correlate to what your intentions are. And so, I had to take some time to reflect, and, I knew at the end of the day what I wanted to do, but
let's be clear, because I've gone on my own plant medicine journey. I had one intention, but the medicine does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
And you're like, why? Yeah. I intended for this to happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it'll throw you curveballs, it'll take you to places that you were not expecting to go to, but that's part of the beauty of working with these medicines, is they're teachers, They're there to, guide you along your journey. And then so I basically set some intentions, and then went and had my first session with him. And so you want me to explain how the sessions went?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a beautiful experience now that, I've gone through it compared to what I thought before, this hippy dippy shit. But, so basically set the intentions. I bring in some pictures. Obviously the first one was a lot about my addiction and why am I addicted to this, and I know it's bad for me. I've developed the awareness now that I know it's hindering me. Why can't I fucking shake it? And then another one was Mom. Okay, this amazing person. She was so highly regarded, so loved, very successful in her work and life and everything. Just everyone around her adored her. Why the fuck did she?
Why her?
Why her? Why me? Why did my mom, have to pass? And so those were the two big ones. And then we basically have a little discussion. And then I sit on his couch, and he's got a beautiful altar. He calls it altar now, but a table, with his little trinkets and his little artifacts and his oracle.
Old Matt would have been like, "What the hell's this table and trinkets?"
Dude, this is trippy shit. What kind of voodoo stuff are you doing to me here, dude? And then basically sit on the couch, and he does a little guided meditation to bring in my ancestors, bring in my family and my friends and their energy into this space to help me, guide me along the journey I'm about to embark on. And then he gives me a little cup of mushroom tea, and I'm sipping on it, and we're chatting, and then he says, whenever you feel comfortable, you can lie down, there's a weighted blanket here, an eye mask, and we're just chatting, and eventually it gets to a point, maybe 15 minutes into it, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel the medicine kind of come in, and I'm like, all right, I feel ready to lie down. I lie down, he kind of comes in, tucks me in, makes me feel all cozy. There's a little garbage bin there if you need things, some tissue paper if you need to go to the washroom. I'm here to guide you. And then I get cozy, and I put the blanket on, the blindfold, and then he just turns up the music. And I'm like, okay. I didn't really know what to expect. Yeah. I'm like, it's therapy. It's psychedelic assisted therapy.
Yeah, this sounds very similar to my experience.
Am I going to talk to this guy, or are we just going to chat while I'm tripping balls? Or how's this going to work? But no, not at all. It's all just going back to self. So with the blindfold, there's no external distractions. With the weighted blanket, you're kind of tucked in and secured. And then the music comes on, and it starts, and it's some tribal stuff.
Yeah, it's bringing you through a journey.
It's bringing you through a journey, and I'm thinking, all of a sudden, ancestors, indigenous ancestors are coming through, and then I'm thinking, family stuff, and then eventually, some more music changes, and then you get into it's a journey, the aggressive, heavy drumming, and then you get into some nice softer music, but what you think is like,
isn't what people think. I mean, you were still lucid and you were there.
oh, I was still present. Like I could lift up my blindfold.
Yeah.
In one of the other sessions, I lifted up my blindfold. I'm looking around. I'm still seeing him do stuff.
Yeah.
You know, a little hazy maybe, but like I'm still me. I'm still there, but you can feel the medicine is working through you. And then all of a sudden, you like, you know, mom comes up, and I'm like, not physically seeing my mom, but I'm seeing
like,
what I perceive of as my mom is there, and she's like looking at me, looking down at me, and like smiling, and yeah, for sure, guys. So I'm saying, just like so many affirmations of like love and support and pride and like everything that you want from a parent that you're not able to get when they're not.
What happened in that moment?
Physically here. Oh, I just like started bawling my eyes out, obviously. I'm, you know, purging all these tears and feeling emotions that because I was high all the time, I didn't fucking feel any emotions. I was so dried out from the weed that there was no water left up here. And so the floodgates kind of open, and I'm like lifting up my mask, and as the tears are like leaving my body, I'm like physically feeling lighter. Like some kind of, you know, correlation with getting tears or energy, whatever you want to perceive it as. It was like, I'm like shedding this weight that, you know, I'd been carrying around, and the shoulders always uptight like this, and like this squinty eyes because I'm still just like, protective mode. And just like, you just feel this like weight go off. And I'm like, and then I see my dad, and I'm like, I just want to give my dad a hug, and I'm like putting my arms out like this, and I'm just like imagining like me just like sending like love to my dad. And yeah, it was beautiful because I hadn't like talked to my mom since she was alive, and seeing her there and like communicating with her was like, holy shit, this is amazing and beautiful and crazy, but obviously so needed, because I had pushed all those feelings and everything away since the moment that I got the call that she was gone. Never maintained any communication with her, so it was just so freeing to know that she's still here. She's still like a part of my life. She's watching over me, as they say, you know, with angels or whatever.
Do you think you would have been able to feel any of that without the plant medicine journeys that you've gone on?
I've thought about that sometimes, and like, you know, maybe through, you know, through breath work or meditation, getting into different kinds of, you know, states where you can kind of connect. But I feel like
egoically, you weren't even open to it.
I wasn't even open. I didn't even know that that was a possible. Now I'm aware of it, but at that point in time, I had no idea what the fuck breath work or meditation was, you know? So from my reflection now, I think, you know, that the plant medicine are, from what I've learned too, are like teachers. They're there to, you know, give you a different perspective, a different experience than what you would necessarily find on your own. And it's a different form of energy that's there to work with you and guide you and be there and maybe show you stuff that you wouldn't have, that it's up here, but you can't access, you know? You see when the new neural pathways are being developed when you're taking these medicines. So I don't know, maybe it is something that's only attainable with these medicines, maybe not.
So what I said you were one of the most fascinating individuals I know, because you also are the owner of Meatings, an incredible catering company, very well known here in the city.
Yeah.
That guy is not the plant medicine guy. And I want to talk a little bit about, like, because, you know, we go through these air quotes awakenings, and then suddenly we talked about this, right? The pendulum swings. It's like, now I gotta be like sitting on this rock, and this is how I gotta be. And it almost feels that you can maintain that, but that's the ego in itself trying to convince you, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of swing back and forth, and it's like, now I know you have found a bit of your balance. So I'd love to talk about that, like that pendulum swing. Like, what did you go through?
It's a wild swing.
Yeah.
Even for me to like believe it. It's people that I've shared, you know, this new world with. They're like, bro, what do you mean you fucking do sound baths? You're a fucking meathead. You're a meat man. You're a jock. Like, this is not who I see as Mat Flosse on whatever the social media world or
even like the Matt I first met. I remember when you told me you went on this journey, it was like, let's meet for coffee. It was like, I went home to Jesse, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. He's different.
He's different, yeah. But just the true self that Matt was always there. That
Yes,
didn't know
because it's a remembering.
It's a remembering of, baby Matt.
Yeah, it's not just
Matt.
like, oh, I've become this new person. Because like that's why some people get scared too. It's like, I don't want to become like that. And it's like, no, this is who you've always been.
You've just put up all of these layers of what you've been told you are, of what you think that you are, what society, what your parents, what your friends, what all these people say that you are, that you believe. Then you become this version of yourself. But from what I've done and what I've learned that I've done is I've peeled all of these layers off and got back to the true core
getting
and
so
essence
excited.
and soul of like who Matt has always been. Matt has always been this guy.
I'm like, I love this.
I love Matt too now. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, you're pretty fucking cool, right? Like, I look at myself in the mirror like, you know what, buddy? I actually kind of like you now. You're a piece of shit before, but like we're friends now.
Yeah.
I'll hang with you.
So like the pendulum swing, you come out of this like awakening and like
it was a struggle.
Yes.
It was a struggle.
People think awakening's beautiful. It's not.
Oh, it's not. It's not. How do you integrate into society? Like even after the first session that I did with Dan, integrating with society, I was fucking
you isolate, you become a hermit almost.
Yeah, and even the stuff I was saying, like the new kids say I was delulu, like I was crazy. My friends are like, bro, what are you saying right now? You can't be telling people to go do mushrooms to go heal themselves. I'm like, but they need it.
Yeah.
They need it. They should do it. And I was, preacher, everybody, that's session number 1.
Yeah.
You got to do this. You got to do this.
I remember when I went through mine, right? Like I had some people be like, you can't talk like this in front of everybody, eh?
Yeah, people think you're crazy.
I accept it, but you can't. And I'm like, what do you mean? Who cares?
Oh, yeah. I remember being in Mopsies with 2 of my guy friends, like, pretty soon after. And, like, I saw some people that I knew that I could... And you just... When, you have this, like, this weird... Not weird, beautiful energy connection that you can feel with everybody.
Oh, yes.
And so, like, I'm seeing all these people that are fucking hurt, sad, broken, damaged, all this shit. And I'm like, you need to go do mushrooms. You need to go see this guy. And my friend's like, bro, you got to chill the fuck out. You're scaring people right now. And I'm like...
I have goosebumps because, like, as I'm writing my book, I describe it like you're looking at life through a looking glass and you see everybody and all their things and you don't even know what to do with it because you see everybody and you're like, we just need to, like, fix it all. Yeah.
It's overwhelming. So... trying to find that balance between like Matt the meat man and Matt the jock and Matt the cool tough guy, all the layers of whatever people think Matt is and whatever I thought that Matt is and this whole new softer, nicer, fun, I don't know, whatever you want to fucking call it, but this love, this spiritual hippy dippy Matt, like, how do I bridge this gap? And I wanted to, going through it, same thing with you. You want to share these experiences, and you want to. So I'm like, hey, do I want to be a shaman? Do I want to be? And
you're so misunderstood at the same time, right? By people that aren't necessarily open or understanding of this.
No, and in our society here, most people don't know about this stuff. There's a great amount of people that do, but most people think it was what I thought it was before, frou-frou, weird, hippy-dippy shit.
And it's become more popular, but I would say, and like we had this conversation in your office, like it's also become like a trendy personality, not necessarily people who know what it is. Yeah. They're like promoting breath work and like all these things, but it's like, do you know? Have you gone there? And if they haven't.
Oh yeah, you can tell who's a trendy follower, Instagrammer, cutie, whatever. 100%.
Because I was at the point too where I'm like, I'm happy you're finding your light through somewhere, but that's not what it is. It's isolating, it's personal, it's deep.
Yeah.
So pendulum swings.
Yeah.
How do you find your balance? I mean, like, obviously within it, the ego comes back into play. And I say, like, we need our ego. We think like you hear online, kill the ego. The ego needs to die. But like the ego is Matt Meetings, right?
Essential. Like it's essential for the ops. You need the ego.
The businessman.
100%. You got to put out that ego, that bravado, of course, sometimes because that's what you got to do. You got to sell, right? Yourself and your business. So, I mean, I still struggle with it to this day of trying to, find the balance of what Matt is showing up and what Matt do I want to showcase to people and how do I want to show myself and how do I want people to see me and know who I am and like, is it Matt the Meat Man? Yes, it is. And I used to think it has to be one or the other. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I either have to be Matt the Meat Man or I have to be Matt the sound bath guy. And I'm like, slowly realizing more and more now that like living in this gray middle zone of being a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this is actually really what I am. I'm not just this and I'm not just that. I am just Matt, and I love fucking meat. I love to party. I love to host events, and I also love to do some sound baths and meditate and take the occasional plant medicine when the time is right, when I need it, want it. And finding the beauty in just all of that is encompassing who I am, is just the continual work that we have to do to love ourselves and be happy and okay with ourselves, is that we can be all of the things.
Because that is the human experience. The point of being human is to be all those parts.
Yeah.
I say, like, you know, we sometimes we think spiritually, like, spirit is duality, but it's not. The ego is duality.
Yeah.
Spirit is oneness, where you are me and I am you, and this like love, but also being able to see both and that duality in your human.
Yeah.
And I've had beautiful connections in relationship, like romantic relationships specifically, where it's like, I don't think I could be what you are all the time. I can't match that energy. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I like dance around, act ridiculous. Like, you know, like there are so many parts of us, and people get confused thinking that they need to be one or the other. And I think that's the ego really attaching itself to its identity and hasn't yet met spirit, maybe. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that only live as what you see. They go to work, they do their 9 to 5, like they show up as they are. They're the jock, the meat man, like.
Yeah. I think it's just a front that we've been conditioned, not a front, but a layer or whatever that we've been conditioned to put on, that's just who we think that we have to be, and we have to go and be this every single day and not allow for the flow of
we forget.
Okay, well, Monday I feel like this and I'm going to be like this, and Tuesday is going to be a completely different fucking day. Yesterday I was crazy, today I'm calm and cool and collected, and then Wednesday I'm out doing something completely different. And I don't know, just finding that that's the essence of life. It's the beauty of it, is being able to flow and things change and adapt. And just my mantra for this year was so simple: just be.
Oh, mine's be here now. There you go.
a couple bees.
Yeah.
Just be, yeah. And it's like, man, you put so much pressure on ourselves and so much effort to try and like put up this face and be this and be that and do this, and it's just like, man, like I'm just gonna wake up. I'm just gonna do my thing, whatever happens. Dan had this really good analogy. He's like, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? Who am I gonna see? And just ask whomever is out there, show me the way. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go do the thing.
That's also trusting inner knowing and like that guidance, which is like a whole other conversation we can go on.
Yeah.
Because that's really part of my route to flow. And what I do with clients is I teach them, like, how do we start to live from a space of inner knowing versus here, right? Which is like the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay, so did coping mechanisms stop? Did you stop smoking weed altogether? You're like, I don't need this ever again.
No, there's definitely like, it's never gonna go away. And it's the same thing with, you know, people say like, oh, well, you're healed now. You went through this journey, so you're healed. Must be nice.
So no one should listen to this thinking like, oh, I'm going to go do the plant medicine because I'm going to be healed, because that's not what happens.
No, we never stop healing.
Yeah.
We're always going to be peeling back the layers. We're always going to be going through this. And I still deal with fucking depression and anxious thoughts, and not suicidal thoughts, fortunately, anymore. But I mean, they probably might come and resurface again. But going through this experiences, I'm now developing tools that I have that can pull me out of that darkness. I'm gonna go back to the darkness. The darkness is fucking always there. It's part of us. Yeah. But I'm not gonna live in the darkness for as long as I did before. And I'm not gonna use the substances, the coping mechanisms to keep me in that darkness because I don't want to come back to the light. Now I see how fucking good the light is.
Yeah.
I want to be in the light. So when I get pushed back in that darkness, I'm like, okay, what is it gonna be? What do I need? Do I need to go socialize? Do I need to isolate by myself and play some fucking drums in my house? Do I need to sing? Do I need to dance? Do I need to meditate? Do I need to do some breath work? Do I need to go jump in a cold plunge? What do I need to do that I know has worked for me in the past to pull me out of whatever I'm feeling right now?
And if your human turns to smoking weed, do you guilt and shame yourself afterwards? Like, how do you deal with that, knowing it held such a heavy weight in your life before?
Yeah, I think now just having like a different level of awareness and understanding of what that mechanism is there for, and realizing that it might serve its purpose for a little bit if I want to shut my brain off because I'm having so many thoughts about everything, and I know, okay, I don't actually have anything to do tonight. I don't need to do anything. I can just smoke a joint and just chill out. And before, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm smoking the joint to chill out, to numb myself, to stop the thoughts. And then tomorrow morning, the thoughts are going to be there. And again, I'm going to smoke again. And then I'm going to smoke again. I know now that I can just smoke the one joint at nighttime, decompress. And the next morning, I'm like, no, I'm good. Let's go back to.
And there's a fine line. And I think it's important that we talk about this because you have to have a level of honesty. So like if someone's watching it being like, oh, this is my permission. It's like, no, there's a lot of work that had to go into you being in this space to like understand, have compassion. You're not like, I think when you connect to that love inside of yourself, you don't want to hurt that version of you. You want to protect him. You love him. Like, I don't want to eat the shitty things. I mean, we might occasionally, but like 95% of the time, I want to do the things that nourish my soul.
100%. And it's life. Like we run it. I'm going to eat McDonald's, okay? I know it's bad for my body. I know it's not going to go well. I'm going to smoke weed. I'm going to drink. I'm going to do things that I know. I have the level of awareness, we're smart, that it's probably not the best thing for my body. But at the end of the day, we're fucking human beings. Like, you still got to live your life. But at the true core, the true essence of it, you have the awareness that, okay, I am aware of what I'm doing, and I know that I am still going to be able to revert back to my true self after this little experience that I'm going to
do. So tell me, I mean, again, like if someone meets Meatings, Matt, they don't know, like last week he's like hosting a group doing like sound healing and like, so who is he? What is he doing? Like, tell us a little bit about this, because like this is like another side of business that's emerging for you. Yeah. And I think that you're here to help so many people. Yeah. So like,
so do.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Honestly, when I reflect back and like look at just like last week, for example, the different things that I did, like I'm so fortunate that I have all these opportunities, but like I just look at all the shit that I did last week, the varying from going to like meeting Sens and being at the CTC and like with Meetings thing, and then going to Broadhead Brewery and drinking beers, and then the next day I'm like going to do a sound bath at a spa, and then waking up at 5 the next morning to go on CTV morning to talk about Meetings, Thanksgiving dinners, and I'm like, who the fuck am I? Who is this guy? There's a lot of different versions of Matt that just showed up in like a 7-day period, and I'm like, that's crazy, but it's also, I'm like, this is so amazing.
Yes.
Like, I'm just living the best life. I'm fucking so lucky.
Because you're in your truth. You're allowing yourself to be all parts, no judgment, just like.
No, and like, yeah, it's fucking been hard to get there and to have that acceptance. Like, I graduated from taking my sound healing course in April, and I had the highest intentions. I did one for my birthday. That was my birthday present to myself, and also to share it with my friends. And again, my friends were there like, you're the meat man. Why are you doing a sound bath right now? What are you doing to us right now? Because a lot of them hadn't been to a sound bath before. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do so many this summer. And then I kind of hit this wall where like I'm struggling, but in the summertime, I'm the meat man. And I'm doing all these marketing videos with our marketing team who love to show my face in the camera, talk about all this meat and swearing and drinking beers and all this stuff. And I'm like, then I'm also this other guy. How do I, and I just struggled with like starting to be the sound bath guy and the mental health guy and like that version of me that I love that can, now I realize let's just do both, man. Both are great. Wednesday do this, Friday do this. And honestly,
we want all of it.
And if people don't understand, come and ask me. And if they want to judge me, think like, bro, who are you, the sound bath? Like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I've learned to I'm doing it for me. At the end of the day, I'm doing it for me. I love this shit. My sound bath teacher told me, she's like, when you're doing these sound baths, obviously you have people that are there, but do it for yourself. Play the instruments for yourself. Take yourself on a journey. And then if people are there, enjoy it, amazing. But have no expectations of what you're doing is for them. They're coming here because they want to experience it. They bought the tickets. They accepted the invitation. Just like do it for yourself.
Well, it's kind of like going back to that journey in the apartment where you're channeling that heart space center and that love. And then for me, like what I'm picturing here is it's just radiating outwards and people are like sucking that in and taking it in. And okay, so we're coming to an end. If you could give advice or say anything to anybody who's on their journey, and I know this is like a heated question because it's like there's so many ways you could take this. Like, what would you say to somebody right now that is feeling just like in a dark space and they're like, do I do the plant medicine? Do I, like, what do I do here?
Yeah. I think the best kind of, I guess, like overarching theme would be to find ways to just trust yourself. So in the society we live in, there's so many distractions. Netflix, Instagram, your phone, everything. There's not a lot of time for yourself. And when you spend time with yourself for long enough, you can start getting more in tune with your intuition. Your intuition and your gut will tell you everything.
That inner knowing, knock.
It knows. It'll tell you where you need to go. It'll tell you, okay, I'm going to talk to Matt. I'm going to reach out to Matt. I'm going to find out who this Dan guy is, or I'm going to talk to Matt and I want to go to one of his sound baths, or I'm going to do some breath work, reach out to Tarek. Your gut and your intuition will tell you and lead the path for you. And just take some time with yourself. Like sit on a couch with nothing around you and just like allow your thoughts to come up, you know? People are like, I can't meditate. I just constantly think. Bro, that's the point. That's the point of meditation, is allowing these thoughts to come up and happen so that you can think about them and feel them and let them go. Because if not, you keep all these thoughts in, you go stir crazy, and then you distract yourself with all this shit, and the thoughts are still inside of you, but you haven't worked through them. So just fucking sit down, lie down, whatever, and just like think and feel.
Sit down, lie down, think and feel. And in the show notes, we're definitely going to put all your coordinates there. So if somebody wants to reach out to you, they can. And like, you are going to welcome them in with like open arms and like so much love.
I'm a great hugger.
And whatever version they want.
Honestly.
Come and meet, because you can go to meetings. Where is meetings? Let everyone know if they're from Ottawa.
Is at, we have a couple locations. So in Broadhead Brewery in Orleans, we do all of the food there, and that's where our main like production kitchen is for all the catering that we do. So all the catering events for the weddings, the backyard parties, all that kind of stuff. And then the Puck Stop is our other restaurant in the Richcraft Sensplex. And then we just recently announced a partnership with the Ottawa Senators. So Meetings is the official
Congratulations.
partner of the Ottawa Senators. Crazy. And so you can get our food at the games now. So we have a little concession booth on the 200 level. You can get it in a Bert's Bar and the suites.
People are in for a treat.
Yeah, this is crazy. Like, crazy stuff.
And Flow Garden?
Flow's Garden. Yeah, it was there last night. Had an amazing wedding, our last wedding of the season. So it's located in Cumberland. A cute, they call it rustic chic is what the girls like to say. Wedding venue and event space. That next year I will be hosting sound baths and doing some more retreat stuff with Tarek that I had planned to do this year, but we'll do next year. And then follow Mat Flosse on Instagram for some upcoming sound baths. I'm going to do one in October, and come out and chill and relax.
Amazing. Well, thank you for being on the show,
Thank you so
Matt.
much for having me. Happy 10-year
anniversary. Our 10th anniversary.